for. So to keep them, what is the one thing that you would like to share with the women in the BW group of what you have learned about marriage?
So actually, I was thinking about this, and then I thought, what is the one thing that has sustained my marriage? Because actually, like 23 is like a good year for me. Like I'm turning 50, and we will be married for 20 years this year. So that's like huge. I was
so 50-20. 50-20.
Yeah. So I was thinking, what has sustained our marriage? And I've even asked my husband this as well. And I know it's cliche, and you probably hear a lot of people say this all the time, but communication is so important.
I agree.
And so I think that has been the thing that has sustained us. Just having those crucial conversations, those necessary conversations, those loving conversations, just communicating. So that is my biggest takeaway with marriage. And then actually with communication, still dating your spouse.
Absolutely.
20 years in or going, and actually we've been married almost 20 years and probably been together about 22 years now. And so actually intentionally dating, and then sometimes even though it's just like impromptu dates, like I love when I come home from work and my husband will just be like, hey, let's just go out to dinner. Like that is so romantic to me. Or just doing things for each other. Just like this morning, it was necessary for him to get up and vacuum this car out for my girls to get in. Because I was like, hey, that'll be okay. He was like, no. But that is so romantic to me. But I will say communicating, intentionally dating, and just getting to know your spouse. Because truth be told, we've evolved in these 22 years. We're different people than we were 20 years ago, 10 years ago. And so we have to continuously communicate, continuously date each other. Just make it fun, make it new. Just be intentional about your relationship. And that's all I have right now.
Yeah, and it's funny that you should say that, because in my video when I started the marriage challenge, I was talking about the same thing. The reason you should communicate, because you're not the same people. I married my husband when I was 25, and at 51, of course I'm not the same person I was at 25. And so as a person evolved, they changed their likes, their wants, their desires, their goals, their dreams. And so you have to keep that line of communication opening, because you have to continually keep learning your spouse. Right. You have to continue to keep learning your spouse. But let me ask you this, because for so many years I said the same thing: communication. But now at 51, for me, it's not only communication, but also understanding. I'm like, Chris Tucker, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Because sometimes you can communicate with somebody, and you say something, they receive it a totally different way. You're like, that's not even what I said. Right. Or they say something and they don't even understand what you're trying to communicate. So would you agree that it's not only...
Yeah, it's, how they always say communication is like a two-way process. So not only are you putting out, but you have to listen to. And it's kind of almost like, in nursing, when we really talk about like teach back, that's really how you have to communicate in your relationship, because sometimes you can say things. So
what I understood you to say was...
Exactly. So
teach
you
back.
need to see if they really understood what you said. And so that's important too, just to get that feedback, to make sure that what you said is what they understood you to say, because oftentimes it can be misinterpreted or misunderstood. And so that two-way, that back and forth piece is important.
Got you.
Question.
Oh, Tanisha got a question.
You mentioned having communication as a tool for successful marriage, and I totally agree. But you also mentioned that having those conversations that are crucial. What would be an example of a crucial conversation?
With me, finances, children, raising children, and now we're going into this season. Now our family is extended, so you have grandchildren. We have to talk about like retirement now, like our long-term goals. What are we planning to do in this next season of our lives? So those are crucial conversations to me. Now, even sometimes what can be crucial for me is we look different than we did 20 years ago. All right. So we have to communicate about that because, I need a lot of
menopause.
Yes.
Because it's real.
It's so real. And some days, I don't know about y'all, but I just wake up and like, oh my God, just look at me. And so me and my husband have to talk about that because these feelings that I'm having, they're real. He's having, we call it menopause. He's over 52. So we really have to talk about like how we're feeling. Because that's important, because again, things have changed since we started out. But the biggest thing I think now is preparing for the next chapter, next season in our life. So what does that look like? So, again, retirement, grandchildren, finances, and just how we going to keep this thing going.
Another thing too, I was just thinking about health.
That was in my mind too.
We're in our age now where, different diseases and conditions, just the aging process, and talking about, our health and what does that look like for us as a couple, as a husband and wife, and even me as a single person.
So what we do as a couple, because aging is real, because them cramps hit different. So there are some things that we have to do different. So
and we need to have a conversation about menopause and over 50. That needs to be another women's discussion.
We need
about to teach the younger women, what they're going to be facing.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of time, I know, like me, when I hit 50, I came into this with not a lot of knowledge about menopause. I didn't have a lot of knowledge on these things when I came into this. But how beautiful would it be if we share with the younger women what to look forward to, and the importance of keeping yourself as healthy as you can while you're young. Versus waiting till they get to our age and then they're trying to get it together, because it's a lot harder when you get our age.
But back to what you were saying, Tanisha, as far as our health, it is important for us to maintain our health. So actually last year, this is something that my husband has never done. We ride bikes, so we're pretty active. I mean, we may not always look like it, but we do get out. Our hearts are really, really healthy, okay? So last year, I asked him, because I've always worked out with trainers, hey, will you go work out with me? He was always in the past like, I don't need that, I don't want to do that. And so last December, because it was during COVID and we weren't traveling, I said, hey, will you go with me, work out with me with the trainer? And so he reluctantly agreed, but he did go. And when I actually signed up with the trainer, I said, and this is somebody that I really, really know well, I said, don't put me on a payment plan, because I don't know how well this is going to work out with my husband. So I will see how it goes the first month. And so I'm happy to say that my husband, it's a year later, and he's still going to the trainer.
Wow. That's good.
It's really, really, and so I really like that. And like, we're probably,
and that's a beautiful thing to exercise
with
together,
your spouse.
yeah.
And a lot of people say that when we're there, like, I can't believe that you and your husband come to the gym together. And I'm like, yeah. But that's been a journey, because it hasn't been something that we've always done together. But now we incorporate that into our marriage as well. So I really enjoy working out with him.
So T, I know you desire to have a husband. And it's funny to me, because sometimes we as married women, we be tired, girl. We be tired. And then y'all single women, y'all be wanting to marry life. So what do you think at this age, what should we be looking for when we're looking for a spouse? What are some things that are important for you?
So, first and foremost, I think the most important thing that I look for, top tier, is a man who really loves God. And I know it's very cliche when we talk about we want a God-fearing man. I want a man that not only talk the talk, but walks the walk.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I want his lifestyle to be that example, and not just him saying, oh, the good man above, that's my guy. I really want him to be able to have that relationship with God, because I do honor marriages as a single woman. Mm-hmm. And one thing I do know is that when you are married, that man is your covering. So I need my cover to be right with God. I don't
right.
need my cover to have holes in it.
Right.
I don't need a thin cover. I don't need a twin size sheet cover. I need that king size, fully covered man who's under the grace and mercy of God. I need a man. Say it
again for the people on the back row. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I need a man who's going to say, "Baby, let's pray about it."
Yes.
baby, let's see what God says. You know, I'm not looking for that perfect man, but I really feel as if he is following God, he's covering me and my family. Because again, like Takitha said, I have an extended family. My family is growing. I have grandchildren. You know, I have my 2 children.
Yeah.
And so my husband will have to cover us, even my adult children. He will have to cover all of us.
Yeah.
So he, number one, first and foremost, the man has to be in love with God in order to be in love with me. Okay, that's number one. Number 2, as I'm getting older, the list has really shortened. That tall, chocolate, flat stomach, muscular, 7-8 figure type man riding in the best of cars, who has the best of houses and the best of the shoes and the best clothes. I mean, he can have all that, but it's not really top tier for me.
Yeah.
You know, a man's character, his sustenance, you know, his personality, how well does he communicate? How does he handle issues? You know, how can he handle finances? How can he handle children being disruptive? You know, what is he an absent father? You know, is he present? Those things are important to me now. And so I think looking for the character and the sustenance of a man who is kind. You know, I used to just think I just want a man who was an alpha male. And I do want an alpha male, but I want to have an alpha male who is secure in himself and knowing that he has an independent mindset of a woman. I don't have to be independent, but I am independent and I'm strong. And I want him to be able to have enough masculinity to know that he's a man, but also be able to handle the full package that I am. You know, because I'm not less than, I'm more than. So
say it again.
I'm not less than.
Say it again.
So that man has to be more than enough to be able to handle himself and all of his masculinity, and also handle me and my more than.
Okay.
So those are things that I'm looking for in a relationship.
And those are such good things. And something you said about perfect, I'm not looking for a perfect man. And I think sometimes as women, we get caught up in the fairy tale, whether it's from social media or movies that we watch, and we want the fairy tale. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it doesn't exist because we're all imperfect people. The only perfect person is God. So that's why it's so important that I think we have to have standards.
Yes.
You know, and then don't lower our standards.
No.
You know, but once you have those standards, you'll know quickly whether somebody falls into that category that you want them to.
And that's why you should date. You should not think that the man that you meet on day one, that's who he is. You know, the man that you meet, that you have known for 7 days, that may not be who he is. You really need to date and get to know the person, you know, so that you'll be able to know, after knowing that person, is that man lined up with your standards, because you know him well enough. Of course, you would never know a person fully. I'm sure these 2 ladies who have been married 20 plus years could say that you can be with the person for 2 decades and fully not know them.
Absolutely.
But the foundation of a person, you should be able to know. The Bible says you know them by the fruits that they bear.
Say it again.
You know, so those fruits you should be able to know, and those fruits that they're bearing, are they lining up with your standards? So get to know a person and don't rush into it.
Yeah, because people gonna always show what they representative first. That's what I have learned, and I've learned anything worth having is worth working for. Marriage is absolutely not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing, and that's why, you know, I'm doing this marriage march, because I don't want to just be a travel agent. I want to be a tour guide on this thing called marriage. A travel agent could just tell you about marriage. A tour guide can take you through the journey.
Right.
You know, what does it look like on the other side of divorce? Because I've been divorced before. What does it look like in adultery? What does it look like when y'all ain't talking for 2 months?
Right.
What does it look like when y'all are hitting below the belt? What does it look like when things are going good?
What is it like when you broke?
Say it again. What does it look like when you broke and you don't have?
And again, because I'm a healthcare professional, what does it look like when you're sick?
Yeah.
Right.
Because even in my singleness, of course I'm not I'm not biased on illnesses. But again, I do want a man, if he is sick, how well if you have high blood pressure, what are you doing to manage your blood pressure?
Right.
If you have high blood pressure and you're still doing all of the negative things,
That's that nurse practitioner coming out.
exactly.
Y'all.
If you're not taking your medication, you're not doing your follow up with your PCP, you're not eating right, you're not exercising, then I don't think that you care enough about yourself at this moment to be in a relationship with me. Now, if you have high blood pressure and you're taking your medication and you're eating right, you're exercising, and you're managing your blood pressure or your diabetes, then yes, I think that, of course I would date you. You know,
Come through, nurse practitioner, come through. But you know what? That's something real, and you never. I never thought about it that way till you said, if you don't care enough about yourself, then you don't care about me.
And how can you care about somebody else?
Yeah.
Again, because it goes back to that cover. You know, if you're not covering yourself, you're not lined up with God, and you're not covering and loving on yourself, how can you cover and love on me? You have high blood pressure, and now you're on dialysis because you didn't do the things that you were supposed to do as far as managing your blood pressure. And you want to date me? Absolutely not. It's a no for me.
It's a no.
It's a no for me. No, it's a complete sentence.
Yeah. But those are critical things I think we need to think about when we're looking for a mate. Because, you know, I look back, you know, I've been with Philip since 97. And the things that I know now, I didn't know then, nor would I have asked. That's why it's so important for me to try to start this circle, or that's the reason I start the circle, and to try to pour back wisdom that I have learned into younger women or people coming on. Because everything I had to learn, I've had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have that person in my life, like, hey, like something even as simple as you're supposed to shave up under your arm. I thought hair's supposed to grow up under your arm and it's supposed to stay there. You know, and that sounds simple, but that's real.
Yeah.
You know, and I never had nobody say, this is what you do, this is how you date, you're supposed to have standards. I didn't even have anybody say, hey, you're supposed to make good grades in school. I just always had a desire to love. So everything in my life has always been a struggle. I've always had to learn everything the hard way. And I made a commitment to myself that I would never let my daughter have to try to learn everything the hard way. And even though she gets sick of me, I try to tell her every single thing I learned, I try to share it with her. Because I don't want you to be that woman like, I didn't know. You know, I didn't know. You know, even with me having 3 kids out of wedlock, I thought that was normal. Until you get into the real world and you realize how dysfunctional your life was or how it is. And you be like, that's not normal. But if that's what you see growing up. And so everything I've had to learn the hard way. And then I never had marriage exemplified before me. My mom wasn't married when I was growing up. I think I got married before my mom, and I was on my second husband. And, you know, a couple of years before my mom died, she married my stepdad. And they was together since from the age of 5, but they were never married. And so I never saw what it looked like to be in a good marriage. So I wasn't a good wife, you know. And so because I never had that exemplified before me, so you have to learn. And when you learn, you want to pass that knowledge back to those coming behind you. So T, you gave some really, both of you all gave some really good, what's the word I'm looking for? Pointers, yeah.
Good dialogue.
Yeah, of what to do. So I appreciate y'all for that. Anything either one of y'all want to add before we end this video?
Girls trip.
I was just gonna say, have fun, enjoy life, and we are really. I had a girlfriend text me today, and she was like, "You doing too much?" And I was like, "No, baby, I'm living life
Exactly,
and I'm enjoying it to the fullest." And with that, we on the road to New Orleans.
Yes, we are on the road. And but one more point you made up, and I'm so glad you said that. Enjoy life, because so much of our time is spent trying to work and do this, and we never even enjoy life. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, when I retire." Oh, but what if you don't make it to retirement?
Right.
You know, so you know you have to live life like tomorrow is not promised to you, because if truth be told, tomorrow is really not promised to you. So you have to live every day like it's your last, and you have to enjoy it. It's called balance, people. Balance. Work hard, play hard.
Queen.
I'm the balance queen.
I would like to say something that Takita said earlier, is that she made a great point about this. You can apply this in marriage, education, whatever goals you have in life. Takita says something: be around people that you want to become. You know, be around that type of environment, be around that type of energy, be around people, or make your atmosphere be around what you are trying to become.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's gonna be our new motto.
Yeah, be around We're gonna get out.
Be what you want to become. Be around who you want to become.
And we're gonna get our shirts to say that. And even I was thinking about the nursing process. Y'all know I teach that at school, the nursing process. And you can even apply that to your life because you always have to assess your situation. Okay, what is the problem? And sometimes you have to honestly say, I'm the problem.
Right.
Okay. And then you come up
right.
what's working right. Then you plan and intervene, like, okay, what interventions can I do to make it better? And then you come real self. We constantly have to, go through this process of self-reflecting and self-assessing ourselves. That's how you level up. That's how you be better. Yeah. So on that note, ladies, we are out. Again, Jackie Perry here. We had it for you, girl. Y'all be blessed. Have a wonderful weekend.
We had it for you. Period, poo.
On the road to 50.
She said no is a complete sentence.